Hi YouTube, this is Bonnie with Old Soul Mermaid, today with a video doing a side-by-side comparison of the Anna K Tarot, the indie version and the mass market version that you can get off at Amazon and other retailers. I recently got the mass market edition about a week ago, and I've had the indie version for a little bit longer. I think I got it this past summer. And I've been working with it quite a bit, and it is one of my favorites. And I believe I showed it in one of my videos titled Best Decks for Beginners, and I truly believe it is. If you're new to tarot and you're not really jiving with the traditional RWS tarot with the artwork by Pamela Coleman Smith. I like that tarot deck and I love her artwork, but it's not one that I totally, when I was starting with tarot, it's not one that sparks fly and you feel that tingle for me, and this deck, and I will also say the Morgan Greer deck, were the ones that I used the most when learning tarot. So I wanted, the indie deck is precious to me, and I wanted to get the mass market edition so I wouldn't have to worry about using this one. I would feel better about taking this one out with me. And so it's readily available, not very expensive. It was $19 and some change, I believe, on Amazon. You know how their prices fluctuate a little bit, but when I bought it, it was about $19 and some cents. And the indie version, I believe it was in euros. It was probably somewhere between $38, $42 for the indie version. I believe the indie version is still available on her website. You can order that, and she also, Anna K also has a Lenormand deck, which I hope it's still available when I'm able to buy it, because it's beautiful. I believe when she did the deal with Llewellyn, they said she could sell her remaining indie decks and then not produce anymore. I think that was the deal, so I knew I had to jump on and get an indie deck. But I'll probably, be using this one. So let's if you haven't seen a side-by-side video, this may help you decide which version you want. I made this little drawstring bag for the indie version because, as you will see, the box top is a little bit loose. It's not tight fitting, so I just didn't want it, you pick up the box like this without thinking and the cards will spill all over the place, and that's not what you want. So I put it in, I keep it in a bag. Also because I don't want it to get dinged up, but the box is sturdy cardboard. But it is a side-by-side. The cards are in a double tray, which annoys some people. I don't care, really. It's not that important, but and also the guidebook is quite different than the mass market. So this is thin. There's not a lot of pages to this, and there is Anna K herself. I'm going to kind of come down a little bit so you can see. There's about, well, the last page is for notes, and that's page 80. So it's very concise, very compact, and it has tarot, where, from, what, how, the deck structure, types of cards, card reading step by step, tips for practice. There are some spreads in here. The meanings of the major, minor arcana. She goes over the suits, experimental readings at the end, and a bibliography. So you can see it's in black and white. The book just has a little teeny black and white picture of the cards. And there's the card reading step by step. Here we go, and we're going to start with the Fool. And some of the cards, she has a meaning, and some of the cards will have a tip for reading this particular card. So the Fool doesn't have a tip, but the Magician does. And for instance, her tip for reading the Magician, the meaning of the Magician becomes clearer when compared to the card which describes the opposite experience. Number 10, the Wheel of Fortune. This card stands for the experience of many things, cannot be influenced, cannot be thwarted, cannot be made to happen. It stands for the experience that blows of fate will happen to us just like that. And then they do, after each card, there's a little teeny space for notes. Notes right here after the Empress. Notes here for the High Priestess. So if you're inclined, I would just as soon use designate a notebook or some kind of journal for that, because I don't want to write in my books. But yes. So very teeny picture, black and white. And that is the guidebook. And with the spread, she's got, of course, a one card draw, a short and sweet spread that is 4 cards. The Celtic Cross, she turns her cards sideways instead of upright, but, and she, instead of the card crossing 2 crossing 1, she has them side by side. Then she has the Relationship and Friend spread, which is a 10-card spread. The Decision spread, which is 7 cards. Birthday spread, New Year's Eve spread, 5 cards. Oh, I should have remembered about this. I had a birthday on Wednesday, the 18th. My 53rd year on the planet. Amazing how quickly it goes. So I'll probably do this tonight. It's still my birthday week, so I'm going to do this. And there's a place for notes, and there's experimental readings too. So that is the guidebook, black and white, very nice. And let's get to the cards. Now, well, you know what? Before we get to the cards, we're going to compare, because I want to do a side-by-side comparison of the cards. So we'll take the little tray out, and now we'll bring in the mass market edition. Now, much bigger box. It is it's published by Llewellyn, but it is quite different. And I'm going to bring this back up. Different than what they're doing now with the magnetic closure boxes, the big, thick, sturdy boxes with the ribbon. I just finished a video. It's posted on my Space Hog Llewellyn decks, so you can see the packaging if you don't have one of those type of decks by Llewellyn. This is quite. Let's take a look. That's the front. That is the back. The sides. Anarchy Tarot by Llewellyn. And it says that this retails for $27.99 in the US. Now this came in the flimsy Amazon envelope. I don't know why they do that with tarot decks. It did get a little crunch. Oops, my cards are spilling, a little bit crunched, but this box is not meant to stand the test of time. So it's not very sturdy at all. And this is how it houses the deck and the book. And you know, if you notice that the guidebook, I didn't want these to get out of order. But we will see. We will try to put these back in order. Sorry about that. Coming back to the guidebook, this is not the large color book that normally comes with a Llewellyn deck. It is very beautiful. It's got a nice matte finish on the outside. In the back it says, in times of confusion, it will help you see. In times of conflict, it will help you get past your fear. If you are struggling with indecision, it will help you decide. And that's very, very, it's very, very needed right now. So it's not the glossy paper that many of the decks now are. It's not the glossy paper that a lot of their newer decks have, but it is a nice chunky guidebook. Now going through the guidebook, there's a photo again of the creator, and we're going to bring this down just a wee bit. It has a preface, a short history, tarot's origins and usage, about the deck, reading the cards, a small selection of spreads. Now this book doesn't have, I believe it does not have the experimental spreads, but it is a chunkier guidebook. It clocks in about 230 pages, and it also has a spread of success, which I don't think was in the other book. We'll have to double check. And systematic card reading, which I don't believe is in the other book, but it's in lieu of the experimental readings in the other book. It does have all the other, the birthday, the friendship, relationship spread, the short and sweet spread. But going into the cards, has about the deck and the suits and choosing a spread, upside down cards, so something about reading reversals, tips for practice. And then this is how each card is presented. You do get a nice large image of the card, black and white, but it's large enough that, you know, you could take this to bed and not really need your cards to be spilling out over your bed. It does also contain the tips, and I went through side by side, and the meanings are identical with the tips in the cards that have the tips in the original booklet. And then it has a much larger designated page, line pages for notes. So I guess it wouldn't be as bad to write in this book because it has a designated page, but I would still probably use a notebook. So you can see how large the pictures are. And let's take a look at the, there we go, the minor arcana. So it's still big pictures. Some of the paragraphs are, you know, they're shorter, and that's typical of many books. This one, the Page of Rods, has a tip, and it's just a nice little chunky book. Has really all the same content as the original indie version, except it's chunkier because it has the full color pictures of the cards, which the other does not. So this guidebook surpasses the other one, I would say, the indie version. So it's nice to have. It's worth getting the deck, even if you have the other, just for this guidebook, because I think it's more user-friendly. All right, so let's look at the cards. Now, the indie deck has different colored borders. With the suits, I believe the major arcana have different colors of borders, but then when you get to the suits, it pretty much sticks with, yes, well, no, it sticks with the same color. Yeah, that's, yes, it does. So, but the mass market just sticks with black. Now, I will tell you right now, I will be edging these. It's the only kind of deck modification I will do if the borders are black and the backs are black or of the same color. I will edge these. And I've seen them edged and it looks fantastic, and I will be doing that. Cardstock between the two. This is typical Llewellyn cardstock. Some people love it. It's not my favorite, but it's not the worst. And again, I will say the worst I've ever encountered, ever bought, was the Antique Anatomy cardstock. Beautiful, one of the most beautiful, gorgeous decks, beautiful packaging, but the cardstock is abysmal. Very papery, cardboard feeling, no structure. It flaps in the wind, you know. But this is good. I mean, it's easy if you riffle shuffle, bridge shuffle. This is fantastic. You know, that's what the Llewellyn cardstock is good for. This is a much more sturdy cardstock. I'd say there's more structure to it. It's I do and also if you want to look, you can see how these are much bigger. So these would be harder for me to shuffle, you know, to riffle shuffle. I'm not really a riffle shuffler. I tend to overhand. And this one is a much better size for my hands, just for handling, the indie version, as you can see. And then this one takes out about most of my hand, much more of a closer to an oracle size card, which is good because you can see the artwork. So, you know, I love the smallness of this one because it's easier to handle for my small hands. But this one, I love that you can see, you know, even more. You look at the facial expressions, you can see more. So let's look at the color. I would say in the indie version, let's see if we can get down a little lower. The indie version, it's a little more, the colors are a little more muted. We'll see as we go through. And of course this is a matte cardstock, this is a glossy cardstock. The Magician. The High Priestess. Again, she looks brighter. This one is a little more muted. The Empress. Again, brighter. You know, the background is brighter. She's brighter. The colors in her dress. So yes, I would probably, without going through all of them side by side, say that this has a more muted quality in the indie version, a little bit brighter in the mass market. The Emperor. I will say that a lot of people have issue with this deck. They don't jive with it because of the faces. Some of the characters they say some people say have funny little squashed up cabbage patch faces, but I love the faces because there's so much emotion depicted on the faces as opposed to the traditional RWS deck, and I love it. And this is one of my favorite lovers cards because it's showing a mature couple. And that's not always depicted in cards. You know, I would like to see more age diversity in decks depicted, but as I think I've said before in my other videos, just because a deck is non-diverse, if I'm attracted to the art, if I feel all the feels and tingles, it's not gonna, from viewing the pictures, you know, online or whatnot, it's not gonna stop me from buying a less diverse deck. I'm just wishing, you know, I wish that all aspects of society could be depicted in the cards, and I think creators are doing that, or trying to, with some of the decks that have been coming out. It's a beautiful hermit card. But yes, as you can see, brighter, muted. And both are beautiful. I would say I love the quality of both. This would be a deck that I would carry, you know, if I needed to carry it, wanted to carry it outside my home, I would be taking this deck and put it in a, you know, one of my homemade bags and travel with it that way. Temperance, beautiful temperance. And I'm sure many of you have seen videos of this deck. There's lots of them out there. I believe there could be a couple of side-by-sides, but if you're on my channel, you can see it here. Star. Here you can see the difference, the stark difference. This is so dark, and this is kind of got a more menacing quality to me, more mysterious. But I love them both. I think they're both beautiful. I think Llewellyn did a very good job. Judgment. I love this World card. And it's not so dark in here today, though. It is kind of a rainy day. I tried to shoot this video yesterday, and it was so dark and rainy. It didn't work out, and then my gardeners came to do my lawn right while I was going, man, maybe I should do it and see. And they came, and I said, nope, that's a sign. I'm not going to film this video today. But do you see his cape is brighter here? His boots are brighter. The sky is grayer, but has a little bit more blue. And, you know, I neither like one better over the other. I think they're both fantastic. I like seeing the images larger. Again, I like the portableness, the size of this, and the feel of this cardstock. I like better, but that's just personal preference, right? This is a funny little card. His body is kind of out of proportion. It's more obvious, I would say, here in the indie deck than it is in this one. It looks like they may have elongated him more. I don't know, but yeah, the 6 of rods. They're rods instead of wands in this deck. Oh, and this is my rogue that flew out while I was trying to open the box, but 8 of wands. Maybe get down, maybe even. I just love the facial expressions in this deck. As you can see, you can really get the meanings of the cards. You know, if you don't want to go with the RWS deck, but you want to go with the system, this is an excellent deck if you're just starting out. And even if you're not, I do use my RWS decks for study, you know, because a lot of books use that imagery. I'm trying right now to read, what is it, 8 Degrees of Wisdom, the Rachel Pollack book. I'm trying to make my way through that. And they use, they show some Marseille, but largely it's, they'll show like both Marseille and the Pamela Coleman Smith artwork in that book. And that's, you know, why it's good to have that, at least one RWS deck with Pixie's artwork. I do like it. It's just, I find that, you know, this artwork I connect with more, and that, you know, you feel the tingles when you pull the cards or have them in your hands, and that's something I don't really get with the other deck, but it is fantastic for study. So, you know, we're all different. I know some people that use only the Pamela Coleman Smith's deck in various iterations. You know, they collect, there's so many of them. The Centennial, oh, I can't remember the names of all of them, but there's that original garish orange one. This is a beautiful card, one of my favorites, Six of Cups. Isn't she beautiful? Seven of Cups. Eight of Cups. I do, see, I just love the expression of the faces. You get emotion, and that's why I, you know, this deck, for me at least, and I think for a lot of people who have it, it's so easy to read with. Another difference I'd like to point out is with the indie deck, you get a number and a symbol for the suit. So that's cups. Here you just have it down on a font, written down at the bottom of, you know, in the border. So that's another difference. I don't know if it'll make a difference to any of you if you're thinking of getting this deck, but that is a difference. So if you notice, yes, we're going to a light, very small light gray border in the cups. It's kind of a bluish gray, whereas these are all standard black suit, major arcana. And here you can see the color pop. Oh, the sun is trying to peek out. You notice it with the blues. Sky is much darker in this. And there's the, again, the suit symbol. Uh-oh. I got this one, the Ace of Pentacles, out of order. Why do I have the page? I think I got my cards out of order. Oh, bother. All right, so this is the ace. Where is my ace? My queen, my king. Oh, I know what I did. I just, well, let's see. We can take care of it quickly because I can see the colored borders. So what it needs to do is this. You can tell how prepared I am. I tried to be prepared. This page does not go here. These have to go at the end. Again, see? Not with it. Not with it. And these need to go at the end of the suit. But you see from the cups, the blue, you get the little brown border. It doesn't change with the mass market edition. I'm getting a low, my phone is running out of power, so I don't know if we missed a few cards. I have to keep ignoring. So let's see where we've got. We'll start from here. King of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles, 3. Yeah, I'm gonna go through these more quickly because I'm running out of juice. 4 of Pentacles. Yeah, this channel is not fancy, and I don't believe it will get fancy. There are some things I want to learn to make the experience better for my viewers. But basically what you want is to see the cards. And I hope, you know, this channel is not to create any kind of FOMO or frenzy. It's just the opposite. I like to view other people's channels of decks that I don't have and I'm thinking of buying, and sometimes it's very helpful to make decisions on that. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't really need it. I'm glad I saw it. It's not causing, you know, those feels, and I have saved some money from looking at some debt. Oh, this is the new hit, you know, that everybody's talking about. But if I look at a good video where you can really see the cards up close, have a good description of what the card stock is like, because that's kind of important to me, what the packaging is like, but most importantly, the cards. If I get a good up-close video, that's what's important to me. Two of Swords, 3 of Swords, 4 of Swords, and you see it changes again, the border with the swords. It's kind of a light grayish lavender, I would say. I don't know if my phone is picking that up, but you can see the vibrance of the indie version. It's a great 6 of Swords, 7 of Swords, one of my favorite 8 of Swords ever. You know, we have our outer perception, but when we look in the mirror, what do we see? You know, what's reflected on the inside. You know, our reality. And I'm just going to go off on a tangent here a little bit because I'm just inspired by this card. I have 2 Instagram accounts. One is for more everyday life. I share my sewing passion on there, and it's more about, you know, everyday stuff. I try not to mix my tarot. I have another channel, my Old Soul Mermaid account for things tarot or metaphysical, because I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. And I surely don't want to inflict my beliefs or my journey on anybody else, but I'm looking at this card right now, and in my everyday channel, I see lots of talk about shopping addictions, and I look at this card and I'm struck by how the need to look perfect on Instagram or social media. This is that outer reflection, what we want the world to look at us, this idea of perfection. But this is what we're actually feeling inside. And that's why you know, we as a human race, pick your poison, food, clothes, you know, whatever you're spending your money in and getting in debt, or whatever you're doing that's self-destructive to you. You know, we have this facade that's so important to keep up appearances, even though we're feeling like this. And that's why it's so important. I just want to tell them, but, you know, I'm not going to insert myself in that conversation, because I'm not perfect. But this is my opinion. You got to work on this. And then this won't be so important. And I think that comes with age. It's a wisdom that comes with age, because you're losing your youthful glow the older you get. You become more irrelevant in society's eyes. And so you really, at the end of the day, this is what's important. This is what's going to sustain you. This is what's going to make you relevant, your inner self, as opposed to your outer self. Beauty fades, and it does quickly. I will tell you, at 53 years old. But your inner beauty, if you have that, will never, ever fade. And the more years you're on this planet, the more that will grow. This will diminish with time. Inner beauty will never diminish with time. So that's my preachy soapbox for the day. Nine of Swords. I know. Many of us are having our Nine of Swords moments right now. But it is a time to learn. And I think, these Swords cards, so relevant right now. It's a time to gain a perspective and maybe a collective humility. I think that's what we're being called to at this time, to gain a humility, because often as humans, we think we can control everything. We think everything is in our control. If we just do this, we just do that, if we do everything we should, but it's not. And this is kind of like throwing sand in our faces to bring us down off our pedestals, to know that most of life really is not in our control. But you know that, you're tarot readers. I keep working to become more enlightened. I know a lot of you are a lot farther in the journey than I am. King of Swords. So, yeah, like I was saying, it's a kick in the face. So it's something to learn from, isn't it? As Lincoln said, it's a time to appeal to our higher angels instead of taking that 6th roll of toilet paper. Maybe leave one for somebody else, or 2, it's a time to really come together. And I know most of you who watch my channel know this. We have to radiate it to the outer population. Let's all start sending our loving and healing vibes, to our neighbors, even though we can't connect with them right now. We can through our cards, we can through meditation and other spiritual practices for the greater good. And we need to be more understanding of our fellow man at this time. Be vigilant. This is not a time to be selfish. Our actions, your actions will affect me, my actions will affect you, and that's the way it is right now. And with that, I just want to wish you, I don't want to be bleak. It's just being realistic. And I just want to thank you all for watching my small channel. I'll try to get some more videos out at this time. It's a wonderful distraction. Thank goodness for YouTube and social media, right? And our practices, our spiritual practices that I think it's a good time to ramp up. So, just blessings to you all. I hope that you're all healthy, that your family and friends are all in good health, that we're not letting this define us, but that we proceed with caution and good sense and with love and with unselfishness. And with that, I will say good day and blessings to you all, and I'll be back soon.